stand up. Yeah, great. And at first, just taking a moment to simply stand. And you might close your eyes if you're comfortable with your eyes closed. And I'm going to suggest you stand with your feet a little wider than we usually do for Tadasana, so wider than hip width apart. It will just offer you a greater sense of stability, and that's what we're really working towards here is some grounding, some settling into the support of the earth, the reliable, steady earth. So if you're okay with eyes closed, go ahead and let your eyes close and feel that connection with the earth. So if you're standing, sensing your feet, if you're sitting, your bum, if you're lying down, whatever parts of you are resting on a surface. And if you're standing, you might even bend your knees and let yourself kind of sink into that, like a little bouncing down or dropping down into the earth so you feel that support. And maybe even a little sway side to side. So you stand a little stronger on your right and then your left. And finding your way, not necessarily to the middle, but what feels comfortable and steady to you. And then we'll do this kind of shaking out movement. And it will start with your leg. So you'll bend one knee like you're going to lift onto the ball of your foot. And so at first it's just kind of shifting side to side. So getting that movement going. And then get your hips to start moving. So get the hips involved. So basically we're going to gradually let this movement get all the way up through the body. So maybe the shoulders start to sway then, and the arms shaking. And if you would think of really like any kind of tension or stuck energy, it's like you're shaking it all off. And you're welcome to fold forward and shake, kind of sway a little side to side, and maybe take the arms overhead. So really no rules here other than trying to keep some kind of movement going and a sense of shaking and even kind of a visualization that you're just kind of shaking off any tension, any anxiety, any worries, like we're just letting it all go, kind of sending it off into the earth. So shake, 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 shake. Can usually get a good amount of movement and shaking going through the arms and the fingers. So you might imagine like anything from the neck, the jaw, the chest can just roll out through the arms and shake down in, but you can shift through the shoulders and wiggle the head a bit too. So kind of yogi's choice, what and how you're shaking here. And then in the next couple of breaths, starting to let that shaking, that movement get smaller, more gentle, smoother, easier. So you're just slowly, slowly letting go of movement and then coming back to stillness. So standing in stillness, sitting or lying down, and then tuning in and noticing the after effects of that shaking. So notice maybe there's a sense of vibrancy or aliveness. Maybe some tension spots have released and maybe not. So being okay with whatever it is you find and just giving yourself a moment to sense into it. And then we'll do one more kind of energetic practice before we move into our relaxation. So this one is taken from some Qigong work. And what you'll do is bend your knees. You're kind of reaching down, and it's like you're drawing the energy up from the earth. And you might even bring it to your heart. Cover your heart with your hands. And then as you breathe out, press down. And again, let your knees bend. And it's as if you're moving through a little bit of resistance as you press your hands down. And then as you inhale again, a little resistance, bringing that energy into your heart. And then again, exhaling. And this is a really wonderful opportunity to kind of think of qualities like what do you want to draw up from the earth into yourself? And then what do you want to send back out? So if that kind of practice makes sense, or you're willing to play a little bit with that now, maybe thinking of qualities. So releasing anxiety, stress, worry, and drawing in peace, trust, steadiness, whatever words or whatever qualities you're feeling like you want to get rid of and you want to embody. And then next time that you draw in and bring your hands to your heart, if you would pause here for a moment and maybe once again close your eyes and feel that sense of your hands on your heart, maybe picturing those qualities drawing in, and even just the healing effect of your hands, sending warmth and healing energy into your heart, into your body. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and release your hands and take your time to set yourself up in a comfortable position. So the practice that we're working with this evening is one of the 8 limbs of classical yoga. So it's called pratyahara. So I'm just going to talk a little bit while you're setting yourselves up. So yeah, I would suggest lying down for this, but if your energy is feeling in such a way that it would just be better to stay seated, feel free to do that too. So pratyahara is usually translated as withdrawal of energy or withdrawal of the senses. And it's more of a turning inward. So when we are really connected to our senses, there's this, we all have likes and dislikes, preferences. And so when we're really connected to our senses, to the outside world, there's a tendency to kind of get bandied about between likes and dislikes. So it's this way of through the senses, starting to turn your attention inward to create a more inward focus, a more subtle focus. So giving yourself a moment to get settled here, making sure that your body is comfortable. So having support under knees or head. If you're side lying, maybe between your knees. So making sure you have the support under you that you need. And then maybe socks or a blanket, whatever you need so that you'll be warm enough. Maybe something to cover your eyes to help create that relaxation response. That also starts to create that kind of drawing those senses inward. So as you're settling in, as you're coming to rest, I'll be offering some simple instructions and then also some quiet time. So to start with, I'll ask you to notice your eyes and invite your eyes to settle into the back of their sockets. Using this as a way to remember that you can turn your senses inward. You can turn inward and release the stimulation of the day. The stimulation that was visual, but also more than visual. Also turning inward from the ears, and again, releasing the stimulation of the day that was auditory, but also more than auditory. Relax your eyes, relax your ears. Using this as a meditation, an invitation to your senses and to your mind as a whole, to surrender the events of this day, whatever they have been. And for now, if you will, thinking of the events, the sense impressions of the day, like bird patterns that pass through the open sky. And in this restorative, in this relaxation, we're using this turning the senses inward as a way of bringing us back to the open sky of awareness. To come back to this place in which we know that all is well, or that all will be well. Release your tongue and the hinge of your jaw. And at the same time, relax your thumbs, your fingers, your toes. And you might say to yourself, this is the time for the open sky. Let the bird patterns of thought and sense activity come and go. Right now, there's no thought that's important enough to think to its end. For just now, for this little space and time, we are returning to more wide open presence, connected to the here and now. And that sense of surrender, that sense of letting go and opening to that wide open, spacious sky invites any unnecessary tension in your abdomen to release. And with the release of tension in the abdomen, that allows your diaphragm to breathe you easily, quietly. And you don't need to make any effort to make that breath bigger. It doesn't have to be particularly distinct or pronounced. Simply allowing moment to moment the breath that's breathing you without your mind intruding on it. For any moment where your mind wanders or tempts you with thoughts to draw you away from this sense of open sky, you could consider profoundly relaxing your eyes or your tongue, considering that for just now, thoughts are not important. For this moment, no thought is important enough to think to its end. You might consider instead feeling the breath, that moment to moment, breathing you, reminding you that this very moment, this precious here and now, all is well, or all will be well. In this moment, and this moment, and this moment, and again, any moment, anytime you notice your mind trying to seduce you away from your breath, you might once again invite your eyes to profoundly relax, your ears, your tongue, the hinge of your jaw. Quietly surrendering. So coming back to these areas of sensation, these areas where we take in information and letting them release that job for just now, turning more inward to that spacious sky quality, opening up to that sense of spaciousness as best you can in this moment. Remembering that the birds that are passing through, those sense impressions, are not our focus right now. Right now, our focus is open awareness. No thought needs to be followed through to its end. Your breath goes on, breathing you, the innate intelligence of your body, inviting your breath in and breath out. With you not having to orchestrate or manage any of that. In a moment, I'm going to sound the bells, and what I'd like you to do is listen to the bell and follow the sound of the bell into silence, and see if you can invite your mind to follow that path to silence as well. Listening to the sound of the bell and the silence to which it returns. That silence is always there, just like the spaciousness of the sky. So allowing yourself to continue to rest into this sense of spaciousness as well as you can, as long as you can. Good night, my friends.